Thank you for taking a few moments to participate in this case study about integrating Salesforce.com and LIS or Lab Information Systems. Let me take a quick moment and just start by talking about what is it we're trying to accomplish by integrating a CRM tool like Salesforce.com with a Lab Information System that contains all your tests. Number one, the main thing we're trying to accomplish is how do we make it easier for salespeople to use available tools. LIS is available, Salesforce is available, so how do we make it easy to use? But secondly, we wanted to tell a story about customer relationships. One of the things that I often run into with a lot of my sales reps is I want them to be able to quickly understand what's happening with a customer relationship. Now obviously they have a relationship with their customers, so they know what's happening from a relationship point of view. But we want to be able to tell a story so they can quickly identify what direction is a customer going, which means we want them to be able to see problem areas very, very quickly as well as opportunity areas. And finally, we really want to give them the ability to see their territory or manage their territory as if it was their own business. So how do we do that? Okay, let's go ahead and take a deeper dive into Salesforce.com for Reference Lab. One of the first things you'll notice if you're somewhat familiar with Salesforce is I've logged into Salesforce and I am in what's called the Salesforce homepage. Now the first thing you'll notice is a set of dashboards that gives me an overview of what's happening in my territory. Now this tells a really good story of what's happening in my territory, but this is a simplified dashboard, and if I want to see more detail I can actually click into my dashboards. Now I'm logged in right now as a sales rep, and so the first thing I see is what's happening in my territory. And so this shows me my top 10 decliners, and in this example I'm showing it by year to date, which means this year this account has declined more than it had last year, and these are my top 10 decliners. Now what's nice about Salesforce dashboards is I can drill down into these records and I can see the details. So now I can not only see my top 10 decliners, but then I can see my entire list of accounts sorted from the biggest decliners to the biggest growers. Now one of the things you'll notice in other parts of the app is that we color code things with basic colors. Red bad and green is good. So in this example, because I'm looking at my top decliners, obviously my biggest losing customers are at the top. Now, what's nice about this is that this gives me an overview of the customer, but if I want to really know more about this particular account, I can simply drill into the account and I can see what's happening specifically with this company. Now, in this particular case, I have a sales metrics section, which just kind of gives me an overview of the account, but I know that I'm declining, but I don't know why. And so I can drill down a little bit further into test families and see that I'm holding ground in anatomic pathology. I've lost a little bit of ground in blood bank and chemistry, and I've actually gained a little bit of ground in reference lab. But obviously I'm losing more in blood and chemistry than I am in my other areas of my business. And so this immediately begins to inform as a sales rep, me as a sales rep, on what I need to do to perform better in this account. And this immediately translates into questions that I may ask this customer and things that I need to follow up on when I'm planning my territory. So the big idea with Reference Lab is, like we said at the beginning, to really give sales reps visibility into what's happening into their accounts. Now in addition to that, if I want to plan my sales plan or I want to follow up with that, I have all the standard capabilities that are in Salesforce in terms of tracking my notes, recording what I've talked about, what things I may have shared with the physician when I was there last. I have all of that standard capability of Salesforce combined obviously with more information. Now, you may be asking, how does all of this information get from my LIS system or my laboratory information system into Salesforce.com? Well, one thing I want to show you is if you look down here, you'll see that I have my test families with all of my roll-ups or calculations that show the trends. And then I have what are called test details. So the secret to this integration with Salesforce and Reference Lab is the ability to bring in the individual test results without obviously violating HIPAA. So the way that we do that is we leverage the existing capability in your LIS system, and it doesn't matter what LIS system you have, by the way. We leverage whatever export capabilities that system has to automatically extract the data on a daily basis generally, and then automatically bring those test details into Salesforce. So in the following screen, I have a sample record or example of the data that comes out of an LIS system. And the main things you need to have are some kind of way of identifying your customer, which your LIS system has, obviously the date that the test took place, any test identifiers, so if it's a unique name or if it's a test number or test family, that kind of information, and then an individual transaction for each test that took place. That's the main information that we need, and from that foundation we can roll up all the other details. So we can roll up by test family, we can roll up by test, we can roll up by account, we can roll up by territory, we can roll up by organization. And that's the secret to be able to bring all this data into Salesforce in one place so that they have access to it. One other question I often receive from clients is they often say that they already have reports that give them this information. And that's obviously very, very true. In fact, we're using many of those reports to get that data into Salesforce. But the main advantage of having all this information in Salesforce is this is where the rep manages his or her business. And so I have all the information about the contacts and the relationships that I have with individual physicians. I have information that gives me not every detail I need, but a basic picture and basic trend of what's happening with my customer. And it gives me the ability to manage it in one place, whether I'm on my computer or on my tablet or on my smartphone. And that's the big idea behind Salesforce and Reference Labs. Well, I'd like to thank you for taking a few minutes to just watch this video. If you have any feedback, criticisms, suggestions, ideas, would love to receive those. You can certainly email me, you can call me, there's our phone number there, and you can also schedule a call directly with me, as well as chat through LinkedIn or through this website. So thank you very much for your time and look forward to chatting with you.